Thank you, my friends. Now we move on to our main content of this mina, which we're going to talk about the part 1 first. Part 1 is about the gun rights. So what is the gun rights? Gun rights can be defined based on the nouns or based on the adjective. So based on the noun, gun rights is the entitlement for the individuals or for the persons who owns or carry the guns. Meanwhile, for the adjective, the gun rights is means the to pertaining or supporting the individual rights to have the guns or to owns the guns. So that's for the definitions. Now I pass to my friends to talk more about the gun right.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Isami Daud with metric number 1912761. Would love to draw your attention to my presentation entitled Law and Regulations of Gun in 3 different countries, which are the United States of America, Malaysia, and Thailand. My presentation will be divided into 2 parts. The first part is the law and regulations of gun in the United States of America, whereas the part 2 is the law and regulations of gun in Malaysia and Thailand. Without any hesitation, let us start with the law and regulation of gun in the United States of America. The gun law in the USA is considered as permissible because they are not obliged to pass their official background check before taking possession. It is the Second Amendment in US Constitution that protect the right to keep and bear the arms. Interestingly, the gun law in the USA is regulated by federal, state, and local authorities. As for the state law, there are 5 aspects that differentiate between one state law to another. First, a license or permit. People in New Jersey need to have a permit or a license in order to purchase or possess a gun. Second, in terms of the need to register with the police or the law enforcement agency. People in California need to register with police or the law enforcement agency before taking gun possession. Third, in terms of the need to pass their background check to the seller. People in the New York need to pass their background check first before purchase a gun. Fourth is in terms of a state-by-state basis. Oregon permit is recognized in Idaho, while Idaho permit is not recognized in Oregon. Lastly, in terms of out-of-state permits to carry a firearm, people in Massachusetts need to have a license to carry a gun regardless of the permit that he has from the other states. Moving to the firearms and ammunition restrictions, there are 4 types of firearm that are being the concern, which are the fully automatic weapons, semi-automatic weapons, handguns such as pistols and revolvers, and lastly is long gun, which is rifles and shotguns. In the USA, the possession of fully automatic weapon is permitted with license and register from federal, whereas for the semi-automatic weapon and handgun is permitted to possess without having a license. On the other hand, for long gun, the possession of long gun is regulated by law. As for the requirements to obtain a license of gun possession, first, they have to be more than 18 years old to purchase rifles and shotguns, and they have to be more than 21 years old to purchase the other type of firearms. Second, they should not convict any criminals. Third, they should not dishonorably discharge from military. And lastly, they should be mentally stable. As for the records, there are four types of records that are being the concern. First is the personal record of acquisition, possession, and transfer of firearm. Second is the record of purchase, selling, and transfer of firearm and ammunition by licensed gun dealer. Third is the manufacturing records. And fourth, the last one, is state-owned firearms record, which keep the record of storage and movement of firearms and ammunition. Only the personal record of acquisition, possession, and transfer that is not needed to be kept, whereas the other three types of the records need to be kept for the inspection from the authority. Moving to the last part of my presentation in part 1, which is the penalty for unlawful possession of firearm. The maximum penalty for unlawful possession of firearm is 10 years in prison. The unlawful possession of firearm here means that means that a person possessing a gun without a license in the state that require a license, or he he possess a fully automatic weapon without license from the federal. I think that's all from me. So I would like to pass my presentation to the next presenter.
Okay, next, I will continue to the organization that support gun rights. From our research, the organization that advocates gun rights is International Association of for Protection of Civilian Arms Rights. Is the organization that consists of 31 member organizations, which consists of 31 groups from 21 countries with 6 continents, that representing tens of millions of firearm owners concerned about civilian arm rights. This organization is built to emphasize the need to protect the individual's human rights to defend oneself or one's family against grave threats, including crime, civil unrest, and terrorism. Generally speaking, this organization is dedicated to preserve human rights on firearms. Also, this organization was formed to prevent the misinformation and myths about firearms that were told by gun controls organization. So this organization work in order to tell the people about the need to have gun rights.
Easy to defend yourself everywhere is one of the advantages of gun right. People never know when they will be attacked across the street or at home, and that is one of the reasons why people would like to own their own gun. Also, gun owner will at least have a fighting chance when a burglar or house invader manage to get into their house, and they can also protect their family. The fear of being shot is often enough to prevent the criminals from targeting and entering to the gun owner house. We can just imagine if the criminals know that the house do not have any weapon, it will be easier for them to enter the house to steal the things and also to kill the family. The next advantages of gun rights is gun shooting is as a stress relief. This is because shooting a gun is always an exhilarating exercise, but it is somehow has a adrenaline boosting, high octane fun with a sense of a calm and focus that must be felt to be understood. Shooting can and does release adrenaline in your body, which can make the liver to break down and utilize the glycogen and use it as a fuel to your body muscles. At the same time, physical and mental health are also required when we are shooting guns. This also can make our day become more calm after have such a stressful day. Gun rights make the hunter easy to hunt. This is most hunters are agree that it is easy to kill a large number of animals because of the huge force provided by a handgun rather than the other weapon. Hunters do not need to run around to chasing the animal, but they only need to stay in the distance to kill the animals. Hunting is not only limited for animal for food, but is also as a sport. And the fact that hunting is as good as any other cardio workout, where it can increase your heart rate, increase your blood circulation, and then lead to a better health. If gun control have advantages and disadvantages, and it is also be the same for the gun rights. The disadvantages of the gun rights is the gun can be easy to fall into the wrong hands. When citizens have easy access to guns, so it become more easy for all sorts of people to have access to guns and use them. There are certain people who should never have access to a gun because they will cause a disaster. Example of these people are mentally disordered people, the criminals and the terrorists. Most of the mass shooting that happened over the years around the world are as the result from the people that mentioned before because they have access to the guns and using them. For example, we can see the recent uh, incident happened in New Zealand, Christchurch mosque shooting, where the terrorists killed 51 people and injured 49 people. Last but not least, having a gun in the house make life more dangerous is one of the disadvantages of gun rights. There are many examples of incidents where people that have guns shoot someone accidentally because they do not know whether they are introduced or not. They are confused with them. So it shows that it will also increase your own chances of becoming the victim of homicide or even suicide in your home. And finally, when you have children in your home, the presence of gun might affect their safety. Despite the every precaution, the effort that the parents take to make sure that their children do not use the gun, children usually use a gun without the parents acknowledge. They will hold a gun and may accidentally shoot themselves or the others despite of their curiosity.